Hello everyone and welcome to my new video. Today I'm gonna show you how I texture leather from scratch in Substance Painter. So first thing we need to do is to create our project. Import low poly mesh. In this section we should choose normal map format, DirectX or OpenGL. This means that the green channel will be inverted or not. After that we import our baked maps from Marmoset. And then we click OK. Any other details of the project we can change later. And so we have our low poly mesh without textures. The next thing I want to do is to change our scene on the light and some performance things. First of all, I'd like to change the environment to some kind of studio because it has flat colors. You can choose whatever you want, but I like to choose contrast studio maps. And the reason of that is that they don't have any colors, so they can't influence on the colors of our model. Then I'd like to increase anisotropic filtering to make textures look more sharper. Also, we should increase some specular quality to make our textures look like we see them in viewport after export. After that, find your baked textures and drop them into our project. If you can see that your normal map looks weird, so that could be the problem with normal map format. So you can change DirectX to OpenGL in the project settings or vice versa. And so now normal map is fine. I'd like to start texturing from some basic materials we have in our library. You can choose whatever you want that the best represents the final result you need. We have clean, slightly used glove without any damage, so I would like to use this shiny material. You can turn off layers step by step to see whether you can left layer or delete it. And now we have our very basic color, so I would like to mix it with our baked textures. Add some ambient occlusion. And also add cavity map and blend it with multiply on the color. And change intensity. And so we can show our baked details on the main color, because main color cannot be very flat. And now I want to define our stitches using ID map. You can change the roughness so they could stand out on the basic material. If it's possible, try to make contrast elements on any other textures, like stitches on color and roughness. Now it's time to tweak some roughness on the basic material. And of course I use our baked maps to emphasize our surface. Cavities should be much less shinier than the surface, so we should invert our cavity map. And then we can fix our roughness with level layer. I also like to play with blending on all these layers. And now I would like to break up our roughness with some worn edges. You can choose smart masks from our library for this purpose. According to our references, our worn edges are less shinier than the other surface, but I will fix this later. You can also transfer these worn edges to the color map. And now we should erase our worn edges from some clean areas using paint layer. Choose the brush that corresponds to your need. I'd like to use Dirt 1 or 2. Always try to look to your references. Fingers from the bottom side will likely damage more than the outside surface. Always try to avoid flat maps on the color or roughness, and baked maps are also considered to be flat in most cases. since we don't have any metallic objects to make contrast, so we should create contrast on color and roughness maps. And now it's time to play with stitches. They also have different color and roughness. I usually like to use stripes pattern to make their surface. And since we have rather clean surface with no damage, so I would like to play with roughness to make more uneven surface. Don't be afraid of using smart masks from your library. You can fix them to your needs. Usually I like to add some leaks and wipes on a roughness surface to make it more uneven. I can't stand the pleasure to make bloody surface when I'm playing with leaks and roughness, sorry. We can add more and more grungy surface on the roughness and color. We can also use curve texture to add to color or roughness. Try to experiment with different blending styles and intensity. I don't want this glove to be really dirty or damaged, so I consider this as final result for me. And that's how I make leather texture from scratch. And now it's time to export our textures. I like to choose PNG format, but most of the studios use Targa for textures. Choose the textures you need, and then choose the size of the texture. I like to use maximum 8K, because I can resize them to smaller sizes. And that's all. Choose your location to save textures and export. In the next video I will show you how to render the model with this texture in Marmoset or Unreal Engine. Maybe you will have to go back to Substance Painter to fix this texture, that's normal, depends on the engine you render in. And this is all, see you in the next video, thank you for your attention and goodbye.